Okay, so for those of you that have been watching the progress on this engine, I promised that I would do a longer video. I've just been setting up the cold start and the fuel pressures and whatnot. And after a few attempts, it's now pretty much sorted. Starts on the button, hot or cold pretty much, and runs well. So this is a 3-litre SC engine, and it looks pretty fancy here. When it came to me, it was the owner had, it was a running engine, but it was leaking like you would not believe, and he said it was making a clanking noise, and it turns out it had a failed chain tensioner. It had the mechanical tensioners still. So the owner was good enough to work with me, and after explaining quite a few things to him, he realised that now was the time to spend a bit of money, and if we're going to rebuild it, do it correctly. When we pulled it apart, because a lot of debris had gone through the engine, we ended up having to replace the crankshaft. I'll try to insert some photos to show you the condition of the engine when it arrived and also when I pulled it apart. But you can sort of see the crankshaft had a lot of scoring in it, and we tried to have it polished, and at the end of the day, the amount of money it was going to cost to grind it and then get special oversized bearings. I actually had a used crankshaft within virtually perfect specification from an engine that I'd already upgraded to 3.5. And so we elected to just use that crankshaft, and now the owner can sell the old crankshaft to someone that wants to grind it and do something special with it. The bearings, I mean, I don't know if you'll see in the photos that I'll try and put up, but there's some bearings, like, again, you'd never do just a top end only, but this one had a little bit of wear in the bearings. And of course, we were doing a full rebuild anyway, so the case was pulled apart, the plugs were pulled, it was completely cleaned. We've upgraded the camshafts. So the camshafts were obviously completely stock. They did have a little bit of pitting in them, and the rocker arms had a little bit of pitting in a few, but the arms themselves were quite loose on the bushes. So again, the owner was good enough to let me do it properly, and so we had the rocker arms reconditioned. Well, actually, I exchanged them for a set of fully reconditioned arms from a 964, and they've been rebushed by John Doherty over in the United States. And I also got a set of camshafts reground to 964 specification. So the owner's going to have a little bit more performance with this engine, although we are running a stock exhaust system for now. He's going to fit his own aftermarket headers at some point. But yeah, we've had the fuel system rebuilt and the warm-up regulator rebuilt because they were all unknowns. Around the back, it'd be a bit hard to see, but this, I don't have a light with me, but this hose here, this vacuum hose here, that it was completely cracked, had so many cracks, and it would have been sucking air. Also, I don't know who worked on this before many years ago, but between the fuel housing, the sensor plate mount and the airbox, there was no gasket. There was just some remnants of silicon, but there was no gasket whatsoever. And things like, between the throttle body and the plastic airbox, they tried to seal it with silicon. Now, I did smoke test this box, and it did have a few leaks. And again, owner was working to a little bit of a budget, so we have applied sealant to the joins. I've re-smoke tested it, and it's not showing any leaks whatsoever. And also, when you run the engine and you open the oil cap, the revs drop completely, so that shows that it's got good vacuum. I mean, it's fairly well sealed. I don't believe it's sucking in any excess air. I know some people don't like these pop-off valves. I don't have an issue with them. I know if you do a smoke test and if you're positively pumping smoke into here and you're pressurising the airbox, then you're going to be pushing this lid up. So of course it's going to be blowing smoke out through the lid. But when the engine's running, I mean, it's under considerable vacuum. Like if you try to pull this up while the engine's running, I don't think you'd be able to. That's how hard it's pulling down. So as long as it's sealed around where it's glued in, I don't have an issue with using these. So I'm happy to use these if somebody wants to use them. But on a new build, you shouldn't need to do that. It's only when things go wrong. Let me just turn off my wideband so it doesn't burn out. What else has been done? I mean, okay, we've ended up, the engine originally had a set of the Alusil Euro, no, they weren't even the Euro, they were like the 9.3, I think they are, like the low compression 9.3 Alusil pistons and barrels. And again, we've upgraded to a set of Nicosils, and we've also found some Euro spec 9.8 pistons. Now, I know Porsche claim that they're 9.8, and they're not. I mean, I've CC'd the heads, and I've done a full, like I've verified what the actual compression ratio is. So even with the 9.8s, and my deck height is only 1.1 millimeters, my calculated compression ratio is about 9.35 to 1. Everything's been ultrasonic clean, vapor blasted, clear coated to protect it. Obviously the fan's been cerakoted and some zinc plating's been done. The alternator is the one that came with the engine. It is the upgraded alternator, so it doesn't have any use for an external regulator. It's charging great. The distributor, so this is an interesting thing. So this engine was supposed to be a Carrera 3 when it was coming to me, but it ended up being a 3-litre SC. But the distributor itself doesn't actually have vacuum advance. So I've sent the distributor away to be checked and rebuilt. There was quite a lot of free play in it, a lot of infloat. So they've rebushed it, put new bearings in, and they've re-spec'd it, and yes, it's doing everything it's supposed to do. The throttle body itself is one which only has, oh, hang on, there's a plane coming overhead, so I might have to pause this. So the throttle body that goes with this engine, it only has one vacuum port on the back, and as you know, some of them have 2, if not 3 ports on the back and 2 ports on the front. So this has only got one on the back, which is below the butterfly, because the butterfly's here. All right, so the port's below the butterfly, so it's in constant vacuum. And then we've got one on the front, which is above the butterfly, so that's just atmospheric, basically. So we feed that one to the atmospheric port on the warm-up regulator, which is on this one on the side, which that sort of caught me off guard. And then the constant vacuum one's fed through to the decel valve, the thermotime valve, and then to the warm-up regulator. Anyway, I'll start it up because I know you're sick of hearing me. So we'll start it up and see how we go. I'll just connect my earth strap. So there we go, job done. Time to pull it off the stand and try and pack it onto a pallet. Anyway, thanks for watching. If this was of any value to you, please consider liking and subscribing the video. It does help me out more than you can imagine.